You should be studying or working right now, but instead, you're watching YouTube. Perhaps you're falling into the state of procrastination. Luckily, you've chosen my video at this moment. I have researched and learned many methods to cope with procrastination and efficiently complete my tasks. I will share with you the most effective techniques right below. Get ready to watch the whole video, don't skip it, because towards the end, I will reveal the simplest yet most powerful method. I succeeded on the very first day of applying it. First, you need to understand that procrastination is a series of behaviors that lead us to avoid our tasks. This habit acts as a stress relief mechanism, helping us temporarily forget about the tasks we need to complete. If you can identify these behaviors, you can break the bad habit of procrastination. The rest of this guide will address common habits and how to change them to overcome procrastination. Each point builds on the previous one, so stay tuned until the end. Overcoming procrastination is a journey, and it begins with understanding that procrastination is more than just a delay in starting tasks. It's a deeply ingrained habit. This habit is a series of behaviors and thought patterns that we develop over time, often as a way to cope with stress or avoid discomfort. Recognizing procrastination as a habit is the first step toward breaking free from its grip. It's like peeling back the layers of an onion, each layer revealing more about why we delay and how we can change. This guide will walk you through common procrastination habits and offer practical steps to transform them into productive behaviors. Procrastination often functions as a stress relief mechanism. When faced with daunting tasks or deadlines, our brains seek immediate comfort and distraction, pushing us to engage in activities that momentarily relieve the anxiety associated with our responsibilities. This could be anything from scrolling through social media to binge-watching TV shows. While these activities provide short-term relief, they contribute to a cycle of avoidance and stress that makes the task at hand even more overwhelming. To break the cycle, we must first acknowledge that procrastination is a habitual response to stress and discomfort. This understanding allows us to approach our behaviors with curiosity rather than judgment. Ask yourself, what are the triggers that lead me to procrastinate? Is it the fear of failure, the anticipation of boredom, or perhaps the task feels too large and unmanageable? Identifying your specific triggers is crucial. Every time you find yourself delaying a task, take a moment to pause and reflect. What are you feeling? What thoughts are running through your mind? Are you telling yourself that the task is too difficult or that you have plenty of time to do it later? These reflections can illuminate the underlying causes of your procrastination. Let's start with a thought-provoking question. How many times have you felt frustrated because you didn't get anything done in a few hours, leading you to label the entire day as wasted? This is a common dilemma. Many people fall into the trap of viewing their day as a single, continuous block of time. They judge it in black and white terms, either the day is productive or it's not. As a result, if they perceive that they've lost a couple of hours to unproductivity, they often resign themselves to procrastinating for the rest of the day. This rigid mindset leaves no room for balance. To break free from this all-or-nothing thinking, try viewing your day as a series of smaller, more manageable segments. This approach allows for greater flexibility and productivity. Think of your day as a collection of distinct blocks of time, each with its own purpose and potential for accomplishment. For instance, I divide my weekdays into 4 main segments. From waking up to breakfast, this is the time to set the tone for the day. I focus on activities that energize and prepare me, like exercising, meditating, or planning my priorities. Breakfast to lunch. This segment is dedicated to tackling high-priority tasks. It's my prime time for focused work, such as drafting a project proposal or brainstorming ideas for a new video. Lunch to dinner. Post-lunch, I continue with tasks that require sustained attention but perhaps a bit less creative energy, like meetings, responding to emails, or reviewing content. After dinner to bedtime. This time is for wrapping up any remaining tasks, self-improvement, or relaxation activities to unwind from the day. This segmented approach also integrates a rewarding system to maintain motivation. If you complete your tasks early within any given block, reward yourself with some leisure time. For instance, if you finish your morning tasks by 11:30 a.m., use the extra time before lunch to read the news, catch up on social media, or chat with friends. By breaking down your day into these manageable segments, you create a sense of urgency and purpose within each block. This strategy not only makes large tasks feel more approachable, but also helps prevent the defeatist mentality that can arise from a few unproductive hours. It's about building a rhythm that accommodates both work and relaxation, allowing you to flow through your day with greater ease and efficiency. This method also promotes a balanced mindset, where you learn to appreciate that a day isn't ruined by a couple of unproductive hours. Instead, you gain a renewed perspective that every block of time holds potential for accomplishment. This approach helps you to recover quickly from any period of unproductivity, focusing on the opportunities each new segment offers. The next issue concerns long-term goals. When tackling long-term goals, it's easy to feel overwhelmed by their sheer magnitude and complexity. Whether your aspirations involve academic achievements or personal development, the enormity of these ambitions can lead to overthinking. This often traps us in a loop of excessive planning and procrastination, rather than taking concrete steps toward our objectives. Do you have any goals that you aim to achieve in the coming months? Perhaps you're working on a major academic project, aiming for a promotion, or striving to develop a new skill. The common pitfall is that these significant goals often seem too large and distant. This perception can be paralyzing, leading to a cycle where we plan endlessly but struggle to make tangible progress. To break free from this cycle, start with introspection. Take a moment to reflect on where you currently stand in relation to your goal. Ask yourself, what am I confident in? What are my priorities? What can I do right now? By concentrating on the right now, you ground yourself in the present and prevent being overwhelmed by future uncertainties or past comparisons. Let's use a personal example to illustrate this approach. I have several substantial goals that I want to achieve, and like anyone, I've felt daunted by their scale. But instead of being immobilized by the size of these goals, I've identified YouTube as my primary vehicle to reach them. Here's how I manage my large goals. For me, YouTube is the key tool that aligns with my goals. It's the platform through which I can share my ideas, grow my audience, and eventually achieve broader objectives. Right now, my focus is solely on creating and refining content for my YouTube channel. Each video I produce is a step towards my larger aspirations. I fully invest my time and energy into the creation process. From scripting to editing, I pour myself into each video, knowing that every effort brings me closer to my ultimate goal. Applying this right now approach helps me stay productive and motivated. It's about translating long-term ambitions into daily actions. This method prevents me from getting bogged down by the daunting size of my goals and keeps me moving forward. Remember, long-term goals don't have to be tackled in one giant leap. The journey to achieving them is made up of many small steps. By focusing on what you can do right now and investing your best effort into each action, you make consistent progress without becoming overwhelmed. When we set out to accomplish a task, the greatest challenge often lies in simply beginning. Have you ever noticed that the hardest part of getting something done is starting? Whether it's tackling a work project, studying for an exam, or beginning a workout, the initial moments are usually the most daunting. This initial resistance is not unusual. It's a common hurdle that we all face. The reason is simple: starting something new requires a significant shift in our mental and physical energy. Imagine the moments right before you start a task. You might feel a wave of hesitation or anxiety. This is because our brains are wired to conserve energy and avoid discomfort. Transitioning from a state of rest or low activity to one of higher engagement demands an effort that our minds naturally resist. This resistance is at its peak right at the beginning of any task, making those first few minutes the hardest. The beginning of a task often requires the most mental push. Once you get past those initial moments, you usually find a rhythm and the work becomes more manageable. It's like pushing a boulder up a hill. The first few steps are the hardest, but once you get it moving, momentum makes it easier. You might have heard of the 5-minute rule, which suggests tricking yourself into starting a task by committing to just 5 minutes. While this can work for some, it often feels like a trick, and our minds are clever enough to see through it. Instead of trying to fool yourself into starting, a more effective approach is to reduce the initial friction and make the beginning as effortless as possible. To overcome the resistance to starting, it's helpful to minimize the friction involved in the first step. Here's how you can do it. Begin with the easiest part of the task. If you're studying, start with a simple topic or easy practice questions. If you're working on a project, begin with something straightforward that requires minimal effort. This way, you ease into the task without overwhelming yourself right away. Next, create a conducive environment that encourages productivity. Remove distractions and set up everything you need before you start. If you're about to write, have your materials ready. If you're going to exercise, lay out your workout clothes and equipment. The less effort it takes to begin, the less resistance you'll face. Establishing a routine can significantly reduce the resistance to starting. When your brain gets used to a set pattern of activities, starting them becomes almost automatic. For instance, if you always start your workday by reviewing your to-do list, your mind prepares for this activity, reducing the mental effort needed to begin. Once you've minimized the friction and started with something simple, you'll find that it's easier to build from there. The key is to keep moving. Even if you start slowly or with something small, each step forward reduces resistance and builds momentum. Gradually, you'll find yourself fully engaged in the task, often without realizing how you got there. Starting with small, manageable tasks creates a sense of accomplishment early on. These small wins boost your confidence and motivate you to tackle more challenging parts of the task. Another important aspect is how you take breaks. For a long time, I believed that taking breaks was a sign of laziness and that I should be constantly working to make the most of my time. However, I soon learned that this relentless drive without adequate rest isn't sustainable. It can lead to burnout, where exhaustion stifles creativity and efficiency. The key to maintaining a productive and healthy work ethic is not to eliminate breaks but to use them wisely. The idea that we should always be working stems from a misconception that productivity is solely about the amount of time spent on tasks. In reality, it's about the quality and focus of that time. If you work without breaks, your performance inevitably declines, and tasks take longer to complete because your mind and body are fatigued. This is where the concept of taking effective breaks comes into play. Taking breaks isn't about being lazy. It's about recharging your mental and physical energy. Breaks allow your brain to rest and process information, which is essential for maintaining high levels of creativity and problem-solving abilities. However, to be beneficial, breaks need to be managed properly. To make breaks truly effective, you need the discipline to clearly separate your break time from your work time. When you're working, focus solely on the task at hand. Don't think about your next break or what you'll do during it. Conversely, when you're on a break, completely disconnect from work. Don't think about tasks or looming deadlines. This clear boundary helps you to be fully present in both your work and rest periods, enhancing the quality of both. Engage in activities that refresh your mind and body. Stretch, take a walk, do some light exercises, or even meditate. These activities boost your energy levels and clear your mind, making you more productive when you return to work. During breaks, avoid anything that keeps you mentally engaged with work. This means no checking emails or thinking about your to-do list. Read a book, listen to music, or chat with a friend. The goal is to give your brain a complete rest from work-related thoughts. Even a few minutes away from your screen can make a big difference. Stand up, stretch, or simply look out the window. These micro breaks prevent eye strain and help maintain your focus throughout the day. Now, let's dive into the ultimate method I've been hinting at since the beginning of the video. When you hear it, you might be so surprised that you'll want to smack me. But hold on and hear me out. This powerful method is actually very simple and can be summed up in 3 words. Write it down. This approach isn't about planning future activities or dreaming of where you want to be. Instead, it's about capturing the reality of how you actually use your time. By keeping a detailed diary of your daily activities, you gain an unfiltered look at your habits, distractions, and the surprising amount of time that slips through your fingers due to unproductive activities. Documenting every moment of your day, when you go to lunch, run errands, chat with a colleague, or browse the internet. These activities, which may seem trivial in the moment, can cumulatively consume large portions of your day. For many, these distractions might appear to be almost deliberately planned, and in some ways, perhaps they are driven by an unconscious desire to avoid more challenging tasks. A time diary is a straightforward yet transformative tool. It doesn't need to be complicated. A simple spiral notebook that fits in your pocket or a notes app on your phone will do. The key is to record what you're doing and how long you're doing it. When you start and stop tasks, make a note of it. Record every activity, from driving to the dry cleaners to scrolling through social media. Do this consistently, aiming to log entries at least every 30 minutes throughout your day, and continue this practice for at least 1 week. This daily log will quickly illuminate how you truly spend your time. It brings your actions out of the shadows and into the light, making you aware of where your time goes. You'll likely be shocked at how much time is consumed by activities that do little to move you towards your goals. The simple act of writing down your activities forces you to confront the reality of how your time is spent. You may notice patterns of behavior that you didn't realize were so frequent or so consuming. For example, when you see that you've spent 15 minutes chatting at the coffee machine or 30 minutes using Facebook, you become more conscious of these habits. This awareness naturally prompts change. Knowing that you have to write down a time-wasting activity makes you think twice before doing it again. Conversely, recording productive actions reinforces positive behavior, encouraging you to stay focused on meaningful tasks longer. Let's consider an example. Imagine you're working on an important project. You note that you worked on it for 30 minutes before taking a break to read the newspaper. When you write this down, you may feel a sense of accountability to push through a bit longer next time, aiming to extend that productive period before breaking for less essential activities. The beauty of the time diary method is that it requires no other action beyond documenting your day. There's no need for elaborate systems or complex strategies. Simply by writing down your activities, you begin to see patterns and make adjustments naturally. You start to reorganize your time without a conscious effort to change. Over time, you'll find that you automatically start minimizing distractions and prioritizing tasks that align with your goals. This process of self-observation creates a feedback loop that fosters continuous improvement in how you manage your time. Try this method for a week, and you'll be more amazed by its effectiveness than you were when you first heard it. I even noticed its impact on the very first day I applied it. My productivity increased by 50% that day and continued to rise in the following days. Thank you for joining me on this journey to overcome procrastination. I hope you've gained something useful and fitting for yourself. I'd love to hear from you. Do you struggle with procrastination? How do you plan to tackle it, whether it's for a business idea, fitness goals, or any other aspirations? Share your thoughts in the comments below. If you found this helpful, please like and subscribe for more insights. Let's conquer procrastination together, one step at a time. See you next time.